Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into a truly mind-expanding analysis from Zeryab Hashmi. It's a fascinating look at how high-level astrophysics and ancient Islamic mysticism actually intersect, and how the source uses both of them to answer probably the most deeply personal question any of us can ask. What is our true purpose?
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Parallel universes in us. 2. Science, religion, and tasawwuf. 3. The grand illusion of time. 4. The promise of Alam-e Arwah. 5. Imam Hussein's great purpose. And finally, number 6. Identifying life's purpose.
All right, jumping right into Section 1, Parallel Universes and Us. Are we the parallel reality?
Now, before we get too deep into the weeds here, we really need to define a core concept, tasawwuf. Essentially, this refers to Islamic mysticism. You've probably heard it called Sufism. It focuses heavily on the inward search for truth and building a direct spiritual connection. Getting a handle on this definition is absolutely crucial because it's the exact framework Hashmi uses to bridge the gap between, complex astrophysics and deep Islamic theology.
So Hashmi drops this totally staggering question right off the bat. What if the realm of souls is the original existence, and this world is the parallel universe? Think about that for a second. We almost always think of our visible, everyday world as the main event, right? And everything else is just parallel. But the source material completely flips that on its head, proposing that our current physical world might actually just be a temporary, secondary dimension. Let's move on to Section 2, Science, Religion, and Tasawwuf, the doorways to other realms.
Hashmi puts forward this super fascinating comparison. He posits that while science attempts to unlock parallel realms physically, by using complex math, physics, theoretical wormholes, the mind, tasawwuf approaches this entirely differently. In mysticism, spirituality opens that portal internally. It uses the heart, the soul, and the inner self, or nafs. It's kind of like looking at the exact same destination, but taking two completely different vehicles to get there.
Which brings us to Section 3, the grand illusion of time. Past, present, and future at once.
So, is time just a grand illusion? Well, Hashmi argues exactly that. He suggests that our linear, day-to-day experience, waking up, going to work, going to sleep, is actually flawed. The argument here is that the past, present, and future are literally all happening simultaneously. And honestly, that is a massive shift in how we view the timeline of our own lives. To back this up, he points to Albert Einstein, who famously proposed that matter traveling at the speed of light becomes infinite. Hashmi brilliantly connects this established law of physics to spiritual ascension. He's basically suggesting that reaching these higher spiritual realms is akin to breaking the speed of light. You are effectively stepping completely outside the bounds of linear time.
And here's where it gets really incredible. Centuries before quantum physics was even a thing, ancient spiritual figures were describing this exact same timeless reality. Take Rumi's famous whirling dervishes, for example. The source points out that they aren't just dancing, they actually symbolize traveling beyond the fabric of time into this constant multidimensional state of motion that totally transcends physical dimensions. All right, funneling this down a bit, let's look at Section 4, the promise of Alam-e Arwah, the realm of souls.
According to this philosophy, our souls are basically on this distinct chronological journey. First, it begins with a pre-birth promise in Alam-e Arwah, the realm of souls. Then it moves into the earthly test, which is our current world. And finally, it concludes with the eternal return to the afterlife. The key takeaway here is that this entire journey is anchored by a promise made long, long before we were even born.
So, you might be wondering, what exactly was that promise? Well, Hashmi emphasizes that back in Alam-e Arwah, souls made a solemn vow to leave a positive impact on humanity and to seek divine pleasure before they were ever allowed to enter this earthly dimension. Meaning, our placement in this world right now, it isn't random. It's a highly specific mission bound by a preordained contract. Let's look at a historical example. In Section 5, Imam Hussein's great purpose, fulfilling the multidimensional promise. The explainer presents the sacrifice of Imam Hussein as the ultimate realization of that preordained promise made to the Creator. The source material views the historical events of Karbala not merely as a tragic point in history, but as a deliberate, multidimensional event, one that was actually planned and fully agreed upon all the way back in the realm of souls. There's this incredibly powerful moment highlighted where, when warned of his impending fate, Imam Hussein essentially replied, "That is exactly why I am going." This is used to brilliantly illustrate the unparalleled power and absolute clarity that comes from knowing your true multidimensional purpose. When the mission is that clear, there's simply no hesitation.
So how do we apply this to ourselves? That brings us to Section 6, Identifying Life's Purpose, the 3 indicators.
Hashmi actually lays out a super practical blueprint here. He gives us 3 concrete indicators for identifying a true purpose. Number 1, it must be larger than life. Number 2, it has to have a selfless impact. And number 3, it must align with divine principles. Let's break these down real quick.
Rule number 1, larger than life. A true purpose is something you'd willingly sacrifice your ultimate comfort, or, even your life, to achieve. The explainer uses the example of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Despite suffering from a fatal illness, he completely disregarded his own survival to secure independence for his people. It was a goal much bigger than his own existence.
Then we have Rule 2, selfless impact. Basically, a legitimate purpose is never selfish. The benefits of what you're doing must extend far beyond your own lifetime to serve future generations. The idea is, if a goal dies the moment you do, it isn't a true multidimensional purpose.
And finally, Rule 3, divine alignment. A true purpose has to strictly align with fundamental spiritual and prophetic principles. Your goal must be rooted in a morally sound framework that brings divine pleasure. It absolutely cannot contradict core ethical teachings.
Which really brings us to the ultimate question for you. Based on everything we've unpacked today, what is your purpose? And is it larger than this life? I challenge you to measure your own daily actions against these massive, multidimensional concepts we just talked about. Are you fulfilling the promise of your soul? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll leave you to think on that.